Welcome back to another episode of the Elevated Chat Room. Elevate your mind, elevate your life. It's your host, Lonzo Jones. I'm back again. I'm happy to be here. Now, we have two guests with us tonight, but one guest is the special guest. You feel me? Let me introduce the topic first, and then I will introduce the guest for tonight. The topic for tonight is The Moment Everything Changed, a powerful journey from diagnosis to victory. Okay, so we have Angel Malone with us on tonight. She is a multiple myeloma cancer survivor. And this month is not only March Madness, but it's also Multiple Myeloma Awareness Month.
Yeah.
And so by her side is her husband, my co-host. He back on camera because his wife on here tonight, but Mr. Dwayne Malone. All right, Miss Angel.
Yeah.
Man, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Well, as he said, I am the Angel Malone, married to Dwayne. We've been married 23 years. We just celebrated 23 years, March 1st.
Yeah, forever.
Yes, we got two children, two boys. They are 20 and 22, I think. And we have a dog. She's 7. Her name is Onyx.
A dog?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead.
We got papers on her. So.
Please don't get started about that dog.
And we have a 5-month-old granddaughter, Malone.
Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, we've been married 23 years. I'm originally from Florence. I've been in most shows for about 20 years. Work, school, take care of my husband.
All right. So, Miss Angel, what is it that you do outside of just working and family? What else are you involved in the community?
I volunteer here at the Rescue Me Project doing mentorship and the admin stuff. I love walking, reading when I can get a spare moment.
I feel you on that.
And I love being with my family. I love fellowship.
Okay.
Family and friends. That's just one of my passions.
Sweet. Dwayne, you got go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I want to add too. So she's also humble, but she loves going to speak and share her story with other cancer survivors and bring the awareness of the type of cancer she had. And I mean, she's all the time praying for somebody, encouraging somebody. Like it's like everyone just kind of navigate to her because they know her story, and it was just so public when she went through it. So she's just a huge encourager and supporter, man. It's pretty awesome.
That's what's up. So I like that fact too, that, you know, some people are not free enough or comfortable enough to speak about their journey. You know, they hold it in or they just don't talk about it in general. So what was it like? Like, what went through your mind? What was those feelings and emotions when you first got that diagnosis?
It was rough. I can remember it was on a Thursday. Actually, it was October 4th of 2018. We were, our children were in middle school and high school, and we were on our way to a football game, I believe, in Decatur.
Yep.
And we had stopped at Zaxby's to get, to grab food. And the neurosurgeon called us and said, it's cancer. And I remember asking him what kind, because my initial diagnosis was bone cancer.
Okay.
And so I asked him, is it definitely bone cancer? He said, no, it's multiple myeloma. And we kind of looked at each other like, what is that? You know? So he explained what little information he had on it, but he said, you know, I'm setting you up with Arkansas, Nashville, and University of Alabama at Birmingham, known as UAB. So, and that was it. And then he was like, we'll talk later. And I just remember sitting in the car and just, my life everything just started coming and going. Like my children having to grow up. What if I died? They're motherless. Dwayne, you know, I immediately, my heart immediately went out to them.
Yeah.
You know, I've never been scared of death. I mean, we all got to die one day. So my heart hurted for my children and my husband and my parents. So we went on to the game and we had to act normal. And that was the hardest night we have ever endured.
Yeah.
Just conversating with people and I could not even tell you what the score was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was hard. So we got the boys back home and that same night, and we sat them down and told them. And they were devastated. We all just held each other that night, and we slept on the couch, all four of us, and the dog, and just hugged each other. You know, it was a lot of fear. And what I like about my husband is he whispered to me, "You're going to be all right." And I'm like, how do you know that? You know? And he said, you know, I've been praying and I've received confirmation from God that you're going to be okay. And my faith had went from here all to below -0.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely had no faith. I was angry. I was bitter, sad. I questioned God why many a times. And I had to pray for understanding, wisdom. I had to pray for forgiveness for losing faith and things like that. But it was hard.
I want to add too on that specific day, October the 4th. So we were actually in our driveway when we got the phone call. And so our youngest son was actually at the house with us. He's getting ready to ride with us to go to the game to see our oldest son. Because the reason why I remember that is because he was getting ready to walk out of the garage to come. And
Zaxby's, and we went back home because
that is right. So yeah, we were at Zaxby's, and then we went back home, and then he was getting ready to come out while we was on. I think we was on the phone with him, right? Mm-hmm. And so we stopped him, from coming into the car so we could finish that conversation. And I felt like that was important because like we literally having to hold it right then and there. Like you literally just hear that. And then we know he's finna get in the car and we on crunch time. We got to help him get to the game. So he gets in the car. And I know he could actually feel that it was kind of awkward because, realistically, it was a shock. And so I remember when we got in Town Creek, we stopped at a gas station, at the Shell gas station in Town Creek. And I really can't remember what we stopped for. Maybe it was just to get a breather.
You had to get out.
It probably was just to get a breather. That was a life-changing moment. And so our son, he's still in there. And then like she said, we got to the game. We just had to act normal and try to smile. But I feel like everything from that point is a blur.
Yeah, I can only imagine, your spouse or yourself being diagnosed. Especially like, did you ever feel like you were sick? Did you ever feel like something was wrong with you? Up until the diagnosis. So what was going on?
So for about 1.5 years, maybe even 2, I was falling asleep. So let me backtrack myself. I got diagnosed at a very early age with chronic anemia.
Okay.
So my iron low, blood was low. So my then primary care physician kept saying, okay, you're in a phase where you're severely anemic right now, and we're just going to give you some blood and or iron. Well, we done that for about 2 years, maybe once a month. We started off doing that, and I started having pain in my back to the point where sometimes I couldn't even pull my own pants up. Like he had to help me get dressed before I went to work. I kept falling asleep at red lights where people was literally blowing the horn. I'm like, I'm sorry, And I kept just saying, I'm just tired, y'all. My coworkers were like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm just so tired. My face had started getting really, really dark, and I had started retaining fluid. I still didn't think nothing of it. Because I was under my then primary care doctor, and so it got to the point where we were going back and forth to the emergency room just to get some relief. And they kept saying, oh, it's a UTI. Then they said I bruised a muscle in my spine. Then I pulled the muscle. And I can remember going to the infusion clinic at Helen Keller. At this point, I was going every other day to get iron.
Wow.
I was getting blood once a week, and then every other day I was getting iron. And I remember a nurse looking at me. My arms was bruised, and she was trying to find a vein to give me my treatment. Mm-hmm. And she rubbed my hand, and she said, "Miss Malone, you need to go get another opinion. There's no way you're losing this much blood or iron. It's impossible." And I said, "Okay, I think you're right." So I remember asking my doctor, "Can you just give me an MRI?" And he was like, "Nothing is wrong with your back." I said, "Well, can we just get a referral to orthopedic? My back is literally hurting." And he said, "No, I just think you need to exercise, and with you being anemic, that's why you're tired and fatigued." And that, if you Google the symptoms of anemic, that's basically what comes up: fatigue. Yeah. So I made a post on Facebook, and I said, "I need a good orthopedic." So I got referred to Dr. Paul Davis. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a whole thread by Dr. Paul Davis. And I was like, "I don't even know who this Paul Davis is, but I'm going to Google him and call him." So I called him, and they took my insurance information. And I remember picking up the phone personally and calling the insurance and said, "Hey, whoever Dr. Paul Davis is he in network?" And they said, "Yes, ma'am." I said, "Do I need a referral?" And they said, "Absolutely not. Just make an appointment." So we did that. We got in about 3 weeks later, and first walked in, and he immediately said he didn't like the way I was walking. Mm. So he sent me to do a complete workup. He did scans, x-rays, and he did an MRI. And the radiologist looked at the tech actually called the radiologist, and the radiologist came in, and I remember laying on a table, but I can see they're normally that, if you ever had a CT scan or anything, they're in a little window, the radiologist. And I remember him just rubbing his face, and he picked up his phone, and knowing afterwards, he called Dr. Davis and said, "Hey, we need to do a complete bone scan on her." So Dr. Davis called me that evening and said, "I'm going to order more tests." And I said, "Well, what do you think it is?" And he said, "I think it's cancer." He said, "But don't get upset. Don't worry. Don't get on Google." Of course, that.
Don't get on Google.
That
was the first thing we did.
I had to tell my mom the same thing.
Oh, yes. Google can help. It can really hurt you, but in some aspects, it does help. So I did the opposite. I got on Google, WebMD, and I was like, "Dwayne, is bone cancer, I'm going to die," and all this and all that. So he never lost his faith. He kept encouraging me. So we went for the complete workup. It took about 3 hours. And I think the tumors came back cancerous, but that was without a biopsy or anything. That's just, them looking at them and things like that. So we went on to Huntsville, and I remember seeing a student. She was an intern. I was not comfortable with her, but that was the only way we can get in with Huntsville Oncology. So she said, "I don't believe it's cancer. You're too young." I said, "Okay." So I went on home. Dr. Davis said, "I'm still not satisfied." I said, "I don't even know who Paul Davis is, but I like you, So he said, "I'm not satisfied. I don't like the way you walk, and I don't like these tumors on your spine." So he sent me to a neurosurgeon, one of his colleagues, and I cannot remember his name, but he is one of the best. He's listed as one of the best neurosurgeons in North Alabama. And he was booked up for like years. Mm. And Dr. Davis kept calling him every day. "You got any cancellations today? You got any cancellations?" And finally he said, "I got to see who this girl is, because you obviously care about her." So I went in for my, finally I got an appointment with him. And he said the same thing. "I don't like the way you walking." He said, "But the fact that you're healthy." And I said, "I don't know where they're getting this healthy stuff from, but." And he said, I just don't want to say it's cancer. you may have hurt your spine and maybe it's something we can fix with surgery. I said, okay. So that was on a Friday. I believe we finally got up there. So Monday he called me and he said, Miss Malone, I have thought about you all weekend. I got to do a biopsy just to clear my mind. And so he said, can you be at the Huntsville Hospital Tuesday morning, which was the next day? I said, yes. He said, now I'm booked up, but I'm going to get you in between. I will not even take a lunch. You will be my lunch break. And I said, okay. And I didn't know how to take that because I'm like, he gonna be tired. He's not gonna do this biopsy right. So anyway, we got up there and it took about 5 hours for me to see him. And he came in and I was so depleted. My vitamin D was low, potassium, blood, iron, and my everything. I was depleted. I was almost like just with nothing. And so they couldn't put me to sleep. So I started panicking, how you gonna cut me? And he said, we're going to give you something, but to make you think you ain't here. He said, but we can't put you to sleep. Your heart will stop because your potassium is too low. So and I knew then it was real serious. And so when he done the biopsy, we went home. That was Tuesday. Thursday of the same week, the pathologist called him and said, she has multiple myeloma and she needs to get help immediately because it's spreading. So I just prayed and said the first oncologist called, whether it's Arkansas, Nashville, or UAB, that's where we're going. UAB called that same night, didn't they?
I believe so.
Yeah, or Friday. They called on Friday. We took the boys to the beach, Gulf Shores, to try to clear their minds, just to do anything. Yeah. And they called us on Friday and said, hey, we want to see you Monday. So we stayed in Gulf Shores and came back through Birmingham. And I've been with them since.
All right. So you mentioned earlier, you talked about how your faith started here and then it went here. I've always heard that you really don't know where your faith is at until it's tested, until it's tried. Because it's easy to be high on faith when life is easy. But when you get that news, I know when the moment first hits, you may get hit with fear. But that's why I believe in scripture, God, it seems like he always was consistently saying, even when he sent the angels, fear not, fear not, fear not. Because he knows fear is going to come. So he's saying like, I recognize fear is here, but fear not, and it also takes having a strong partner that will stand in faith, even when you can't stand in faith, and so like I said, I can only imagine like having to hear the news for myself and then being helpless and knowing all I can do as a spouse is just encourage and pray and just be here. So when we was talking about faith, so how does your faith journey how did your faith help you through the journey? I know you said you started here, went here. Did it come back up? Like, how did that faith journey? How did your faith help you on this journey?
We so obviously we chose chemo. The doctor gave us 3 choices. One was chemotherapy with a stem cell transplant, and preferably be on a mild chemo for the rest of my life. 2 was just get a shot once a week or maybe once a month. And I would have to do that the rest of my life. Then that was just buying time. And the 3rd is, let nature take over and die. So the first choice with the 17 or 18 weeks of chemo and a stem cell transplant following that was a trial that my doctor at UAB had came up with. And he needed a Black female that was under 40 diagnosed with multiple myeloma. I was the 19th patient and I was a Black female and I was 36 at diagnosis. So you can imagine how they treated us when we got there. It was royalty, So he needed me and I needed him. So I remember my dad telling him, we don't want him to be the guinea pig now. So I want you to save my daughter's life. And he looked at me and he promised me, I will, as long as you fight, I'll fight. So just with that, just to have a doctor having that much faith in me and in his drugs, his trial drug, and the research that I was under, he it's going to work is what he told me. And of course, I was like, I don't know, I just don't want to be sick like this. You hear so many bad things about chemo, and the first thing that pops up when you look up chemo, it will kill, steal, and destroy cells, good and bad. Well, I'm an analyzer, which that's why I get called dramatic.
That's another story.
I analyze everything. I have to know the why in everything. So when he said, chemo kills, steal, and destroy, you immediately, if you know what I know, you immediately think of Satan, because that's what Satan does: kill, steal, and destroy. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not putting that through my body, So we looked into like some just like smoothies and things like that. But there again, I got a husband, we got a family. I got to do what's best for us. And that's for me to live. So he told me, go home, just think about the choices I gave you. And I said, okay. And I couldn't. I told my husband, I cannot. My mother-in-law, his mom, she went with us, and I allowed her to go because she's a little stronger than my mom. So she asked me, "Where do you go choose?" I said, "I can't. I just can't because I don't know." So my son, our oldest son, was at school one day, and he called me. And you got boys in school, so the first thing you think is, "What's wrong?"
Yeah.
So I was in the middle of crying and spazzing out at home. I was alone. And he said, "Mama, you got to do option one." I said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Why you say it, son?" He said, "I've been praying all night and God keeps showing me the number one." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, we go still pray about it." Because, option one was the hard chemo. And I mean, they went hard. They were going to go hard with it.
Yeah.
And I was going to, lose everything. My hair, it was just going to be bad. So I remember praying, and I ran me some bath water to kind of help me relax. And we got a golden doodle. And I kept asking God, I need a sign. And my golden doodle, she hit me. And I pushed her ass, and not today, Onyx. I don't feel good. And I said, God, just give me a sign that I'm going to be okay. Like, I don't care about losing my hair, fingers, toes, anything. I just need a sign that I'm going to live. And Onyx came back over there. And she just was whining, wanting to play, or just hug and cuddle. And so I kind of got ahead of myself. That's when my son called and said, we doing option one. So anyway, obviously we went with option one, and it was a hard fight. It was real hard. It was probably one of the worst fights I've ever had to battle.
How did you push through that battle?
Family support. Dwayne and I had kind of made some rules and set some boundaries. Like nobody can come around us, just positive energy. And whatever that looked like to us, that's just what it was. So, I didn't allow certain people around me. I just needed positive energy, and I needed faith, people that had faith and could believe that I was going to live. I just wanted to be surrounded by that, because I was depleted.
Yeah.
I was mad. I remember asking Dwayne, we talk about God so much. We go to church every Sunday. Where is he at? How did this happen to me? We always protect our space, where we go. How did it happen to us? And once I reactivated my faith, I personally began to see the light. You know, that it was and I remember God saying, you know, it's gonna get heavy, but I'm taking you through this for somebody else. I need everybody to know who I am and what I'm capable of doing, and I only use the strong people. And that's just what the Holy Spirit left me with. So I knew then I had to fight.
So you said that family helped you guys push through. So speaking of family, Dwayne, what was your role when all this was going on?
The life support.
Explain it.
Yes. So I will tell you, when she first started getting sick and she first started doing testing, I started documenting right then, day one. Because like instantly I just had that piece that, you know, this is not personal. This is going to be a test. This is going to be something to make our family stronger, those around us stronger, and those that we come in contact with. This is your story. This is your testimony. This is what it's about to be. Let's be transparent with it. And she was okay with being transparent. So that's kind of how we deal with that. It was a rough journey. I tell you that it was rough. Like just to go back real quick to the night of when we actually told our kids. I've never experienced anything like that before. Just the screams and the crying, like I can still remember to this day. You know, it was pretty bad, you know, and I'm just trying to console them. I ain't showing no weakness or nothing like that. I'm holding them, then I ease off to the kitchen, you know, and do this. And I go back in there and hold them some more, you know. But it was rough. But it was so bad that I needed to change the scenery. And the next day we went to the beach. And just like even at the beach, it was, I remember my wife and I was sitting back in the chairs, you know, the beach chair, just kind of looking while the kids was in the pool, and they just sitting in the pool with their heads down like this, with their feet, you know, just all that. It was rough. But I'm telling you, like, we were blessed to have so many friends and family and people that we didn't even know to support us and to encourage us, and just random things, acts of kindness, showing up at the doorstep or showing up in the mail, and our team, including you and your family, everybody just, I mean, I just feel like life, if you ever want to know what faith is, wait until that's all you got. When, you know, that's a good time to be introduced to it. You know, I just feel like things happen in life for a reason, and it really showcased a lot of things. It showcased the areas that you're weak in. It showcased the love that people really have for you. It showcased the areas that, like I said, that you're weak in, that you need to work in and grow in. And then it also introduced you to purpose. I just knew that it was bigger than us. And my thing was just to be a big support to my family and to other caregivers and to other men. Like, this is what we signed up for.
Yeah.
You know, to death do us apart. You know, I always tell people, when you say the marriage vows, it's just a preview of a movie. You know, it's just a preview of a movie. And it's amazing because a lot of times when those situations occur, that's when we want to quit.
Yeah.
You know, but you already had the preview of the movie. And so, like, I just feel like those are the stepping stones to make a strong marriage. When you're talking about a longevity marriage where couples are been together for 20, 30 years, there has been some hard times.
Yeah.
There's been some issues. And so we got to fight through that. So, like, to me, it was like, Lord, thank you for this opportunity to bring us closer. Thank you for the opportunity for this journey. Thank you for this opportunity to make us stronger. Thank you for this opportunity to be able to minister to other people. Like, it never was a thing that I felt was going to destroy us.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to make us better, you know. And then in my aspect, as far as me, like, I got to model this right here for my boys. This is what it looked like when hard times occur in your future marriages and your future relationship, to the other caregivers, to the other men. Like, we don't give up. We keep pushing. We got to get through this. You know, now it doesn't mean that you're not human and you're not going to have moments, because I had them.
So it looks like you stood in faith.
Yeah. And let me say this too. Like, it's too many times in life the Lord has came through for me.
Come on.
You got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I always tell people, you got to put it in the bank, you know.
Yeah.
If even the small fragments of things that you was concerned about at one point in time in your life, but it worked out. So if he can deal with it before, he can do it again. So it's just, you don't got to keep proving yourself to me.
Yeah.
It may not feel good, didn't feel good to see her to go through some of the things she went through. And I'm sure she'll get on to that. But it was times when she was getting a stem cell transplant where she didn't know she was in this world and she looked it so bad. And it was out of her control. But like the chemo and all that, it changed her colors. Like, I'm telling you,
I remember.
It was so bad and devastating to the kids would call and wanting to see her and things like that. And I had to tell her that she's asleep, because they wanted to FaceTime stuff. Like I couldn't let them see her like that. It was rough,
Yeah. So it's always good to lean and depend on God.
Oh yeah.
Because He is the ultimate source.
Absolutely.
He is the sustainer and the giver of life.
That's right.
So standing strong in faith is definitely played a major part in seeing you guys today. Not just you being healthy, but your marriage being healthy. So that's awesome. I mean, because people leave each other over things way less.
Yeah.
Way less trying, way less challenging than what you guys have experienced. And so I just thank God that you guys have been an example and we get to see that. And it's refreshing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, just to add to what you just said, so I can't tell you how many times I was in the waiting room or we were in the waiting room and it's time for her treatments or something like that. And I would hear, it's such a good thing that you're there supporting her or that you're here with her. And I'm trying not to be offended, but I'm like, that's what you're supposed to do.
But that's not normal though.
Yeah.
You're supposed to do it. It's not normal.
Yeah, and it goes back to what you're saying. So, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier, that these moments happen in life. I went through my own situation in life. She was there for me. These moments make you stronger.
Yeah.
But not, just to add on to what you said, yes, you're right. There's a lot of people that run and get away from it. They can't handle it. They can't take it, But that wasn't going to be the choice for me.
It's almost like, man, like we talk all the time about performing, like sport. I'm in the sports world. Like I can't wait for game day. Can't wait for game day. Okay, so now game day is here. Are you going to show up?
Yeah.
Same thing with life. It's like you're preparing for those tough moments. Now the tough moment is here. Are you going to step up and be who you say you are? Be who you've been talking about you are. Yeah. So it's an opportunity for me to show my spouse that I got you.
I got you.
That I got you.
And I needed this, though.
You know what I'm saying?
I needed it. Prior to that, when I got in trouble with the streets and stuff like that, like I needed to show her that I got you. Like you just said. Yes, sir.
And see, not only, like, they know we got them, like, financially.
Yeah.
That right there is kind of a given, but to know that I got you in a deeper way, that I'm willing to take care of you.
Yes, sir.
When I say that, I mean, like, I will feed you. I will clothe you. I will bathe you.
Yes.
He did.
I know he did. We had plenty of conversations. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So, like, and then, like, him telling me these things when we were taught, it's like, bro, I admire that. Like, that's real.
Yeah.
It's like, now you should never question if I got you or if I love you.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So now it's like, I would tell people all the time, like, man, it'll be really, really hard for me to leave my wife after she's birthed 2 kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've seen what she went through to do that for me, because that's what I really wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a father. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And she gave me that opportunity. So I'm like,
You
even
have
though-
a higher respect for her.
Yes,
Even
you
though
do.
you respected her.
right.
But I remember when I was in labor with our first son, and when we came home, he was like, what you want? What can I buy you? Because I got a whole different level of respect
It does.
for women.
It does.
What you just went through. And I was like, yeah, that was real painful.
And then to see the body change, like
Yes.
you go from being like my wife, she was a athlete in college.
Yes.
Now you walking around having 10-pound babies.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you was willing to take that chance for our family,
Yeah.
to change your body, you know, and to do it again. So like I have the utmost respect for her in that area, because it's like, man, that's a sacrifice.
yeah.
And sometimes we need to be reminded, what our spouses really do
Yes.
behind scenes and, out front. I've always said, like, it's funny how we can like have a chore or a responsibility that we do at the house, either one of y'all. And y'all do it every day or weekly,
Mhm.
but then y'all have a guest come over or a parent come over, and they'll do the same chore or responsibility that one of you guys would do, and y'all will thank them as if they're the greatest person in the world.
Right.
But you'll never thank your spouse that do it daily or weekly.
Yeah.
That all because we get accustomed
Yeah.
and we start taking each other for granted.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Well, Dwayne, man, he do that all the time. Or Angel, man, she do that every day. She always cooking.
Yeah.
But when your mama come over or cook you a meal, mama, this the best. Like, what? Like,
You're right.
I mean, cooking all, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's good, though, to have those reminders to take you back. And I think sometimes we need to sit back and instead of focusing on the negative things that our spouses may bring to the table and start focusing on what they actually do bring to the table. And that'll kind of cut out that negative noise
Right.
in our heads. I don't know how we switched over there.
That's good. But you know, that's what life does, and that's what the situations that occur in life does. It reminds us, you know, hey, get back in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget.
Yeah.
Keep moving.
That's right.
This is a test. It's just a stepping stone,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So
Yeah.
And I can remember, you know, having a conversation with my dad, and I don't think you ever met my dad, but you know, he was military at one time and just strong.
Mm-hmm.
Never. I saw him cry when I got hit by a car. I was young, and when I was fighting with bacteria in my blood at a young age, you know, in the death of his mom. Those were the only few times I ever saw him cry. So he cried when I told him I got diagnosed, to the point where I really was just like, I don't even know what to do. Like, because I've always seen you as my dad, protecting me and ready to knock somebody out if they said something strange, you know. So I didn't, you know, and I just remember having a conversation with him, and he was so concerned about Dwayne. And I was like, oh, he's fine, Dad, or whatever. And he said, no, I want to make sure he's not going to walk out on you. And I'm like, why would he do that at a time such as now? No,
obviously,
listen. He said, you know, not being disrespectful or anything, but men are weak when they see the person that they love hurting and they can't do nothing about it. So they run. He said, so if there's ever a time that Dwayne need a break, or, you know, he just need to mentally clock out for a second, come home and I'll take care of you. You know, and he was like, and I'm gonna let Dwayne know, you know, I need him to get a break. So let me have you. And I was like, he's not gonna do it, Dad. He's not. And we spent 17, 18 days in ICU. He slept in a chair every night. I begged him to go home and, you know, spend I said, just go home and maybe play football with the kids early one Saturday morning, and you can still come back. Nope. The only time he left was to go shower. And I don't even think you left to get food.
Yeah, and the shower just a few rooms down.
The shower, they made him shower in the guest area.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let him shower in my room.
It's because our immune system was broken.
My white
completely
blood count had dropped to below 0. But anyway, you know, my dad wanted to stay, and Dwayne was like, nope. I mean, you could stay, but I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
You know,
See, that's the thing. Like, even in scripture, it talks about, you know, when you are the bride, you know, you leave the husband, he leaves his family.
That's right.
And becomes, you know, one with you. But it also talks about how normally the father walks you down the aisle, right? And then he hands you over to another male. And actually, he handing you over to another type of father. You know, now it's his job to protect you.
Right.
It's his job to care for you. It's his job to do everything that the father did, plus love you in a different type of way than what the father did. So in essence, you going from a father to a different type of father.
Right.
And so with Dwayne having that mindset and that conviction, that belief, and that set of morals and values, it was like, oh no, bro. Like, you need to take care of my wife.
Yeah.
Like, come on. That's like if something go on with our kids, ain't nobody else gonna take care of my kids.
Right.
Exactly.
As long as I'm living and breathing, I can look, I got
That's
y'all.
Right.
You
That's
know?
right. And my mom was the same way. Even his parents, you know, let us come over and give you a break. No, he will go to work and come home, get a shower, and he would get in the bed right there with me. And some Saturdays he would drag me out the house, even when I didn't want to go. We took chemo on Thursday, and you notice I say we, because he saw the ins and the out. I mean, he could tell him how to poke me with the needle. I mean, he done everything. And I remember one of my nurses saying, "This is a nurse that I ain't never been to school for a nurse." I said, yeah, he knew how to change my port, flush it out. I mean, he was amazing.
So I told the doctor, well, not just the doctor, but everyone she came in contact to that was dealing with her. Listen, I know you deal with a lot of people. This one different. And so my thing is you was gonna get personal with us.
Yeah.
You got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gonna know about our kids, you gonna know about our family, you gonna know about our faith, you gonna know about everything we do. I need this to be personal. You got what I'm saying? Because I want you to make sure you go above and beyond. I need you to feel some type of conviction when you go home to make sure I did the best I could with her.
Yeah.
You got what I'm saying?
That's good. And that's amazing that you said it, because people don't realize by being, open, just willing to meet people and start talking to them, and you build rapport. And once you build rapport, you build a connection.
That's right.
And that connection is like, oh, I got a connection with this patient that I've never had with these other type of patients, or every now and then. So it's like, you know what? Naturally, you're gonna want to make sure you do your best. You know what I'm saying? Go a little bit
what he told
and that's exactly what you're saying.
Basically what our doctor
And when we
said.
go to check us, he said, "How the kids doing?
Right.
High
Exactly.
school going? Like, y'all got a new house now?" Or just like he keeping up.
Yeah.
But that's what you want though. So
Now, treatments. Okay, so y'all was mentioning treatments and how he's helping you go through. So what was the stem cell treatment? Like, what was that experience, and what all did that entail?
The stem, because I don't want to get in it to what all the stem cell do, because we'll be here all night. But that was the worst part of my journey. Having to make sure I had a donor and making sure everything aligned. I mean, they give you a checklist. Like the donor it has to be tobacco free for so many months, tattoo free. I mean, infection free. I mean, it was like the donor needed to live in a bubble for at least 90 days, in order to be my donor. So with me being 37 at the time of my transplant, my doctor said, we want you to be your own donor. This was part of the research. And I said, okay. He said, so it's going to be hard. We go blast you with chemo. And it's going to be extremely hard. And I said, okay. He said, and I asked him, well, why can't I get a donor? He said, you can, but I want to make sure the cells work and you can go into remission. You may not go in full remission, but you'll have a better chance at going into remission and have a longer life if you be your own donor. And I said, okay, well, that makes sense. So they hook you up to this machine, and it's kind of like dialysis. And it just take your cells and filter out all the bad ones. And it takes the good ones too, but it mainly focused on the ones that has cancer in it. And they call it a bone marrow transplant as well. So we done that probably 3 times, and it's a lot of legal work done that takes in place. I had to sign off on a lot of authorizations in front of a notary. It was crazy, but and they prep you for about 2 weeks before you get on this machine. Well, we done that 3 times, and then a specialist will come in. And he can do a formula and say whether you're going to meet it or you're not. And I got denied 3 times. And my doctor said, okay, we just going to let you rest. And I was so devastated because I was ready to get this stem cell transplant so I could go into remission. He said, I need to just take you off of everything. He took me off chemo, antibiotics, steroids, everything. He said, I just want... for the next 2 weeks, I want you to eat what you want to eat, do what you want to do, go where you want to go, live your best life for the next 2 weeks. And so, but in the meantime, my dad was having to be tested, prepped, and things like that. So my mom was not a match. So we went to my dad, and he was the perfect match. So we went back and got on the machine, and we were probably about 2,000 less in the number range where we had to be. But my doctor said we go with it. So he liked to get enough for 2 transplants just in case your body rejected. I only got enough for barely 1. So he took those stem cells and filtered them through that machine again. And we got my transplant on April something of 2019. I can't remember. And I mean, that's when my face started going right back down. I got it all the way back up to go through chemo treatments, to fight, and I started declining. Like you said, my image changed, and they told me, you're going to lose every hair follicle on your body. So my hair was already thinning out a little bit, but I had, if you knew me then, I had really, really thick hair. So I was able to camouflage it. So we decided to bob it, cut it off, and wore a little short bob during the treatments. But when the night before I got admitted for my stem cell, we cut it, we shaved it. So I wasn't bald, but we shaved it. And I allowed him and the kids to do it. And that was just a sentimental moment that I just wanted for us four. So the boys and him, they cut my hair. And so going on into the hospital around they told me I was probably going to hate them around day 3 or 4. And I did. Mm-hmm. I was basically begging God to just go and take me because I can't fight this. And Dwayne was very encouraged. My family, my mom was like, just fight. And so, but that was the hardest part of my journey because what they do is give you a blast of hard chemo. Man has labeled it called the Red Devil. But that was probably the most detrimental time of our journey.
So I know that you're back working. Mm-hmm. Okay. In school, they got a couple degrees since 2018. So what advice would you give somebody that has went through something similar to you, experiencing a hard diagnosis? What advice would you give them?
I've always said support. Have you a good support system. Make sure you're educated on your diagnosis.
That's good.
Make sure, keep in contact with your team, your medical team. And if you don't know something, stop them right there. I don't understand that. Come down to my level and explain what you're saying. Pick and choose even where you go. Mm-hmm. Everybody don't believe in what you believe in, and whatever that means, that's fine. But you need to make sure you're on everybody's on the same page that you're on. Okay. And so we all can join it together and help heal ourselves, and just stay active. I never just laid around. Even if that means coming out the bedroom, just in the living room, watching TV. I never just laid around. Just stay active, stay positive, and stay in the Word. I read a lot, and I wrote a lot. I journaled, so that my story could help somebody else. So
this has been a really, really touching episode. Of course, we was behind the scenes while y'all was going through everything you was going through. Yeah. And Dwayne would call me from time to time. I would just check in on you guys, but you never really, and like I said, Dwayne is like a brother to me, man.
You don't have to tell me.
You know it.
You don't have to tell me that. I know.
So, but man, just to see you guys where you're at now, it's truly a blessing. Like I said, I can only imagine, I couldn't even imagine like having to deal with something at that level. But man, the faith that you guys have in Christ is a testament. And like I said, I just thank you guys for sharing your story with us tonight. Opening up, being transparent. Like I said, it's touching, but it's needed. You know, people need to understand what it's like, you know, to see a couple go through something together and it doesn't break them, but it makes them stronger. You know, so
I do want to add to not just women, to men, everyone. Get to know your body. You know, we always say, you know, I don't feel this, and we run to the doctor. I use this as an example. My doctor that delivered our boys is male. And I remember I had been seeing him since I was about 13 years old due to just being a female. So, you know, I knew him. He was like family to me. And so when he delivered our boys, I remember just being in so much pain from the labor. Our first son. And we ended up having to have an emergency C-section. But I stayed in labor 12 hours, hard pain. And I remember he said, oh, you could do it. And I looked up and I asked him, have you done this before? And he said, done what? I mean, I've delivered such and such amount of babies. He went to doing this, you know, if anybody know Dr. Wayfield, you know, he was the funniest man ever. And I said, have you ever delivered a baby? Labored a baby. And he said, no. So you cannot tell me what pain I'm going through. You only know because you studied it. Somebody taught you. And I respect your white coat, but this is my body. So I know how I'm feeling. And this baby is not going to come out of me. You're going to have to cut it out. And that's what he ended up doing. So anyway, I used it as an example as to you got to get to know your body. When you know there's a strange pain in your body or you off balance or something, advocate for yourself. Keep going to the doctor. If this doctor won't test you, go get another one. Get your mammograms. Guys, get your physicals once a year. You will. Early detection in anything, not just cancer, but anything, is the key.
I agree with that.
It's the key. So advocate. When the doctors say, no, I think this is that, this and that, and you're still hurting from what he assumed it was, go to another doctor.
Get a second opinion.
Get a second, third, fourth, or fifth.
Do what you got to do.
That's what I did.
But like you said, though, you must know your body.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to leave you guys with this. It says, just dealing with what we all talked about tonight, the journey, faith, and everything. When life hits,
there it is.
You have to be ready to hit back.
That's right.
And so, like I said, I want to thank you guys for coming on the show tonight. Miss Angel and Dwayne Malone.
I'm so honored to be on here.
Thank you.
Yeah, he finally got back on the show.
Yes.
This was hard for him.
But that's it, y'all. That's another episode of the Elevated Chat Room. Elevate your mind, elevate your life. Like, share, comment. You guys be blessed.
Thank y'all.